republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And we are back once again into Sunday afternoon, and we are tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And I always got to give a weather update, but the weather, winter is here. It is absolutely miserable. We got I'm going to embellish a bit. We got 55 mile an hour winds, and it was raining, and it was sleeting, and it's freaking cold. And after I do this podcast, I got to go out and do all the chores I didn't do yesterday. And I knew the weather front was coming in. So I don't know. So joining us today is Magnum. He's our local gun nerd.
Well, gun nerd I am, that's for sure.
Well, so here's the thing: I call you the gun nerd because I know what a gun is. I can teach with it and stuff. But I mean, you like the details. Like you can list off the specifications of all of them. You're good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I love being the gun geek. I like to find out things. The why of everything, right?
Yeah, no, that's important stuff. So we're going to talk about guns, and we're going to talk about Magnum's thoughts on guns later. And I'm trying to think if there's any business that I need to get out of the way. It's been a few weeks since I've been on the air, and I mostly just been trying to wrap up all my women's groups, trying to get them wrapped up. I got one more left next week, or not this week, but the week after Thanksgiving. One more. Got to finish up with the night shoot. You were here. You were in the men's group this year, and what'd you think of the night shoot?
That night shoot was great. It was absolutely great. It was way more fun than I thought it would be.
It was. Well, you just show up and shoot, but man, it is cool.
It is. It is the black powder rifle out there looked like it's throwing dragon flames out, and that 10.5 inch our buddy brought out was shooting bright fireballs out there a good 5-6 feet. That was awesome. So
did you see the nervous look on my face a little bit? Did you? I mean, it was dark.
It was dark out.
But I mean, so when we shoot the handguns, it's different, right? We have weapon lights or headlamps, right? So you can see. I mean, you still have to be able to see through. When we started shooting the rifles, this would be the first year we actually shot rifles at night. It's like, oh, God, they can't see the target, and I'm like, oh. Hold it low, aim low. That's what aim low. And Jeremy, he's going to be listening to this. He shot that AR, right? He's boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. One of the other guys in the class, Nick, he was like, "Let him light it up, Todd." I'm like, no, we're done. Todd's stress levels are starting to raise here. And then the guy shot that black powder rifle.
Yeah,
and it was funny. I mean, I'm not laughing at him. I mean, it finally shot, but it's a black powder, so it's not 100% reliable. You can have a little black powder. I don't know what was going on with it, but he's like, he got it all loaded up. It took 5 minutes, and he's like, poof.
Yeah, the little click pop thing that didn't go anywhere.
Well, what made me nervous is and he did. I guess he did okay. I don't know much about black powder, but he's like, if you have a hang fire, you hope you never have hang fire. So if you're firing a handgun and you go click and nothing, what do? You keep it pointed down range.
Yeah.
He's like, click, poof. And then he's like, yep. And he flips the gun up and he's like, oh, what the? If that goes off, where's that shit going?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. What if it sparks off in that chamber and just decides to go?
First of all, it's going to rip his arm off at this point because he's holding it with one hand. But he finally got it to go.
I thought the most interesting thing was how he got the slug out.
Oh, yeah.
When he had to repack the powder and stuff. That was the coolest part of the whole thing. I'm like, how's he going to get all that crap out of there?
He screwed into it.
Yeah. I never knew that it was a thing.
You're thinking that's cool. I noticed you were kind of standing away from everything.
Yeah, I was waiting for the flint to go, well, because there's still hot stuff coming off of that little cap, the blasting cap.
He jams it in there, screws it out to pull the ball out, and I'm like, what if it decides to go off now? Now we've got an obstructed barrel. This has not good written all over. I was... you guys left. It was a great time, and you guys left, and I was like, okay, we're good.
I learned some valuable stuff from that, shooting a short barrel rifle in the dark or a handgun rather. Yeah, it's why I got flash hiders on my rifles now.
Yeah.
But the other thing I learned is that flash, that flame that they always tell you, if you've got ports on your gun or a revolver with a cylinder gap, like you're not going to be able to see. And I'm telling you, it's not that bright.
No, it's not.
And surprisingly enough, it's so fast. It doesn't hurt the eyes. It doesn't bother you. Now, a rifle, different thing. That thing, I had like that cool little floaty ball.
Oh, yeah.
In your vision going around.
Cool.
But yeah.
So, and I was thinking about that because you made a good point. You're like, it's a myth. It's a myth. And I'm like, yeah, it's a myth. And I still buy that you're not going to be blinded. But for some reason, it's just going to be like if you shoot a gun any place, like in an enclosed area, like a room or like maybe a vehicle if you had to. I still think the flash is not going to blind you, but I think it's going to surprise the holy living crap out of you.
Yeah,
because it's so confined, right?
Well, it's like trading for contact shots. You don't expect that heat wave to come up your nose.
Yeah.
When you're 3 inches off your gut and you're just doing a press and shoot. Yeah, that kind of is a bit of a shocker.
Yeah, but super fun. I had fun this year. I mean, I hope you did. At least
I did. It was a group of great guys out there.
And I mean, you're welcome back. You know our deal, right? You're welcome back. I think they're all coming back.
That'd be great.
I think they've literally all said they're coming back. So if you're listening to that and you said you're coming back now. I keep checking my email. So I need to see that you're coming back.
No doubt. So, in some of these other guys out there, like I think I told you a couple weeks ago about my Tactical Timmy story.
Yes.
You know what?
Talk about it.
You guys need to get off your tail. Come out here and train. Especially if you think you know everything and you have something to contribute. Come out. At least you get a chance to shoot with another group of dudes. You might learn something. You might learn nothing, right? Or you might pick up something that's useful, and maybe you throw the rest away. But get off your high horse, man. Come out and train. Have some fun with some other like-minded guys. You've got the days where you come out and people bring different guns and you get to try some different stuff.
It's fun.
It's just a blast, man.
And so we learned different things. I mean, I hope everyone learned something. I think they did. But at the very least, right, I tell everyone, you're coming and you're shooting more than you normally would, even if it's only twice a month.
Yep.
That's still more than most people. And guess what? You get more, I mean, you know how it works. You get more comfortable with your gun. I mean, look at, we had a gentleman in the class, his name was Rod, right? He's an older gentleman down on the end. I mean, he's like, I've shot guns before, but like, I don't know anything. And he started off and he ended up he's pretty good. I mean,
he is pretty good.
I mean,
now.
He's got real confident, even after the gun blew up in his hand. Like he's way more confident now, right? And he just has a good time.
Yeah.
And I think he goes and actually does like dry fire and stuff. Like he's very like I want to get good.
Yeah.
I want to get good. So I mean, this is fantastic. But we need. I know we have a list of stuff to talk about, but I forgot about your Tactical Timmy story.
Oh, okay.
We need to rehash that whole story.
All right.
And I don't care. Maybe he listens to the pod. I hope. He probably doesn't because
I seriously doubt he does.
Because he's Tactical Timmy.
He's Tactical Timmy, clearly a transplant from somewhere else. So I frequent other ranges around here, either to zero hunting rifles or just spend some days teaching my kids how to shoot rifles, or my dad goes out and we shoot together. And a group of folks came out, and they had the one guy in the group which I identified as Tactical Timmy, because this dude is on a flat range, not a tack range. It's specifically set up for, downrange, zeroing your rifle hunting. It's got the benches, the whole bit.
The firing line, yeah.
Yeah, dude shows up in full kit, right? And I can hear him talking to his buddies down there, and it's like, well, you train like you fight. Then he proceeds to sit down on the bench and shoot groups with his rifle. And I won't knock his groups, but, I've seen better. But, you're shooting groups off a carpeted bench in full kit. I don't ever remember a story anywhere that you're training like you fight off a carpeted bench underneath an overhang in the wind, and you can't shoot for crap anyways. But
right.
So the dude trudges up and down the line. He's got had some nice equipment, nice gear, probably the wrong choice of 1911 variant, but it worked for him. So that was great. Tactical Timmy is proceeding to train some of these other folks.
He was the ringleader.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there were some really new ladies there that were shooting.
Right.
A couple of the gentlemen with him were very receptive. Mm-hmm. I had a chance to poke in and talk with them about some of the principles and things we go over at Patriot Defense, and really just make it safer, because their recoil control was off. Things were going the right way. They started shooting at the rifle range with their handguns at 50 yards, and they couldn't hit dirt clumps at 50 yards. So we got them on the shorter range.
50 yards.
Yeah.
That's a long ways.
They when we got them on the short range, they couldn't hit paper at 10 yards. Right. And so gave them a couple tips and tricks, passed out some cards, said, hey, you guys really want to learn how to shoot, let's do this, but let me give you a couple things just to make it safe. So we got them shooting, and they started doing well. Tactical Timmy came down in his full Uncle Mike's leg rig. You know, the kind of leg rig that you strap on your leg. If you run, your 4-pound gun swings around and crushes your right testicle. That's what the dude's wearing, right?
Oh, he was certainly tactical.
Oh, it was kind of crazy. And then he's got, and it's not cheap kit either, like $500 earmuffs.
He tried to buy his way into it.
I would say so. Right. I would say so. And Tactical Timmy could not shoot very well either. There was an older gentleman there, probably a Vietnam era veteran, asked to see his 45 and shoot it. And watching Tactical Timmy shoot it was like watching John Wick 4. He's got all tucked up in his face, and if we were on video, I could totally show you. It was hilarious, right? But he's doing his shots, and his group suck. And the older gentleman he passed the gun off to, he's trying to give tips to, and I'm watching this older gentleman run circles around Tactical Timmy with his own gun. And I mean, recoil control was perfect. His groups are tight. Everything is running flat. And the older gentleman was kind of doing it old school, where they almost teacupped it.
Yeah. He was doing what worked for him, the way he was taught originally.
Yeah, kind of thumb over thumb, like
he was having 70s. He was having a flashback.
It could have been, man. But the dude could shoot. He could flat shoot, and he ran that gun well. And it was kind of, it was interesting to watch Tactical Timmy's face.
Did he get disturbed?
I don't know if he got disturbed
or pissed.
He seemed cordial with the gentleman. I don't think he was really upset about it.
You can't get pissed off. He shoots better than him.
Yeah. But I mean, he put his gun away, and he decided to go over and start teaching one of the other ladies who. I had to leave the area at that point because I wasn't getting shot.
Didn't you say he saw that you were talking to the other people in his group, and he kind of bowed up a little bit?
No, as soon as I left, he came over to retrain them.
Oh, gotcha.
And the two girls that I was working with and the two gentlemen that were there, I think they were husband and wife teams, they seemed to be okay with it. They're like, no, we're just going to continue this way. So he went over to the third party one and started working with them. And it was interesting, but I was like, it's not my business.
You did your thing, yeah.
It's not worth, getting into an argument with Tactical Timmy. You can't hear me through his $500 earmuffs anyways. So
probably don't have batteries on.
I don't know. But I did find it very interesting. It was just something to watch. And
public ranges, man.
It at least this time.
You didn't fear for your life?
Well, they're not people walking down range when you're during live fire now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are starting to communicate out there now. So we'll see guys out there, and we start, hey, your range is hot. You can go lay targets or do whatever.
It's because they listen to the radio show we do.
I hope so.
And we tell them, communicate with the other people that are there.
I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people just walk down range as people are either firing high-power rifles.
Yeah.
It's like, you are so insane.
Yeah, well, that's the way they do it.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. But that is my Tactical Timmy story for the week.
I like it.
Hopefully those folks get signed up for a class and they get in
that'd be
and
fantastic.
try to do something to at least promote safety, because holy cow.
And this is where I jump in and say, if you have a Tactical Timmy story, you can call me. You can text me. Area code 620-794-6223. It's area code 620-794-6223, and we can get your Tactical Timmy story on the Patriot Defense Podcast. Call in. You can just call in and you'll be a guest. It'll be fun. I love Tactical Timmy stories.
Those are good stories.
They are some of the best stories. So I'm really surprised going into December. I have a permit class on the 9th. I did let you know that, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, Magnum helps me with my classes, so he's tries to be in the know when Todd remembers to let him know. And I've actually got quite a few people signed up for it in December, and I can't believe it. It's usually like my slowest month. So I think everything that's going on in the world, I think the upcoming election, I think, going into an election year is kind of firing people up a little bit.
Well, I think the recent local events have probably pushed some of that too, but
we have some scary stuff, man.
Yeah, it's probably a better Friday conversation.
Yeah, we're locally here. It's we've talked about it before. The area is growing, right? We're getting lots of, which is fine. I think, growing is fine, right? But when you grow, you ultimately, more crime and more different things like that locally. So people are a little on edge, and they might be taking steps to make themselves feel safer, which is good as long as they take the right steps.
Yeah. And remember, your permit class is not a training class.
I say that so much. Permit class, not a training class.
Yeah. We can help you get you on paper. We can help you be safe while you're on the line. But ultimately, get out, train, not just safely, but scenario based. Get out there and diversify your experiences. Learn how to fire, operate, and safely transport, carry your chosen firearm, no matter what it is, even if it's a Glock.
Yeah, even if it's a Glock, we'll let you off on that one. Speaking of Glocks, go ahead, sir. I'm here to heckle you. I'm here to agree with you. I'm here to disagree with you. Magnum has put together a nice show for us, I think.
Well, I tried.
You've tried.
But I got to tell the Glock fanboys out there that you're probably going to be cursing at the radio.
That's okay.
Go ahead, give me the finger. I can't see you anyways. It's all good. Your head's going to get all hot and bothered. And I'm going to step on some toes of the 1911 guys, too, because I am a 1911 guy.
That's why we call them Magnum.
But just sitting and thinking, right? 1911 guys classically are FUDs. We're FUDs because we love the history of the gun, 2 world wars, 45 ACP steals the soul.
And what is FUD? Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, like Elmer Fudd.
It's like he's okay with guns when it comes to hunting, but no one should. And he's very like. I'm sure there's people that don't know what a FUD is. That's why I asked. I'm trying to figure out in my brain how to explain this.
Well, I'm sure there's a solid definition. But my definition of FUDs are the guys that are stuck to the old guns.
And maybe stuck to.
And maybe my definition is way off.
And maybe stuck to the teacup.
Yeah, a little bit to the teacup.
Some of the old school stuff, and so okay, go. I didn't mean to interrupt.
And so they can't, you can't modernize, and which brings me from the 1911 guys because we are classic, right? And in the 70s we had upgrades that screwed the gun up, that gave it the wonderful reputation that it has of the Jam-O-Matic 68,000.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And as times have changed and modernization has come up, and the way most companies that are manufacturing now, not all, Kimber, but the way most companies are starting to manufacture these is CNC machining and stuff. Everything is done right, and then I think we've solved the magazine issues through innovations with Trips Research and Wilson Combat and Chip McCormick, which I think is now owned by Wilson Combat. But they've solved the majority of those issues, and you still get your one-offs, right?
Right.
Springfield's really great about screwing up their one-offs, but they're also really great about fixing them. So, but still, the 1911 hasn't really innovated a whole lot, which brings us to Glock FUDs.
Glock FUD.
Sorry, Glock guys, you're gonna love this, but the Glock is the high point of 1980.
Yeah,
it just really is.
It is.
And if we look at Glock's history of innovation, there isn't any, right? I mean, there's a few things they've changed in trigger geometry. But what is their greatest innovation over the last 5 years, right? They re-released the Gen 1 17. Mm-hmm. Like I was talking to you earlier, I said they probably found a crate of these things sitting somewhere or a warehouse full of them and said, hey, we'll reintroduce them. We'll mark them up to the new price and then sell them.
Oh, yeah. I can
and
see
then
that.
Somebody will run out and buy these. Like, I'm a classic 1911. I want to find like a World War II Remington Rand.
Right.
Yeah, I'll go buy it. If you got a case of them, I'll grab one for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So why wouldn't a Glock guy do the same thing, especially if they're a Glock FUD? So then they innovate with the Glock 47, the biggest, a Glock 19 frame with a 17 slide and a 19 spring operating system, right? Glock guys, and your Glock innovation is so far behind the curve, it's ridiculous. You guys are deep into Fudville as 1911 guys are.
Oh yeah,
it just is what it is.
Nothing is that's it. That's it for them.
That's it. It's Glock or nothing. And now the funny part is we hear about Glock perfection, right?
Yeah.
And a Glock perfectionist will spend $1,100 to make their Glock more perfect.
Yeah.
When you can go out and just doing a quick Google search, you can find the new innovative Glocks. Now, there is argument that everything that's polymer and steel is, a derivative of Glock at some point. but in fact, it probably more so runs off of the HK-P8, which was the first polymer steel blended gun.
Now we're talking.
I think Glock was the first double stack. I think the P8 was a single stack. Please, somebody correct me out there, because I'm not totally into the HK stuff.
You keep talking. I'm going to look.
I'm not a huge fan of Nazi guns, so.
Hey, leave me alone.
But I mean, the Shadow Systems have come out. Shadow Systems is a massive improvement over your standard Glock. You have the Lone Wolf kits that have come out. You've got polymer 80s. You've got the FX19 Hellfire compact pistol. You've got the Zero Delta 1, right? And unfortunately, me being a 1911 guy, there is only one Glock that I have currently liked, and I'm hanging on to it, and that is in Zev OZ9.
So let's talk about this, because I mean, I know guns enough that I need to know, but like, so that is that the Zev own that is a Glock.
It's based off the Glock Gen 3.
Okay.
But what I think, and this is where I think Glock has killed its innovation, right? Because to make the perfect Glock, what did they do? What was the first thing they did? They recontoured the grip to give it a 1911 grip angle, right?
Yeah.
But with Zev, Zev was used to still manufactures upgraded parts for Glocks to make, Glock perfection better. You buy Zev parts.
So they just made their own gun.
Yeah. So basically they built their own, but they took it to that innovative level where SIG really took it from everybody and was made it a chassis system. I mean, hell, even Beretta did it with the APX.
Yeah.
So you got Beretta APX chassis system. You got the SIG chassis system. Hell, Springfield has wised up, comes out with the Echelon. It's a chassis system. Wake up, Glock. Where you at? You ain't got no chassis. And the people that were building parts for you to make Glock perfection, the Zev company, their system is a chassis system. And I think that will be the way of polymer guns going forward, because really you can innovate off of that. Any grip style you want. I think Icarus is now making, metal bottoms for them if you want metal bottoms. And, I think somebody makes a metal lower for a Glock, but the problem being is that on a lower for a Glock, is that serial number is right into the frame. So you can't do it that way.
Right.
It's just not going to work. So I think, sorry guys, you Glock fellas out there, you're going to be awfully butthurt about this. And if you left your gun stock Glock, it's probably going to be reliable. I've seen my fair share of Glock failures on the range, generally with people that mess with them.
You want to know my favorite Glock? 19X.
You know what? I have to agree. I do. I really like
it. Still has a shit trigger, but it's way better than the original, I think. But I like that gun.
I do too. The balance of it is
ugly as crap, but I like it.
But the baby poop brown, you gotta love baby poop.
No, it's not baby poop brown. We call that 1980s Cadillac Gold.
Cadillac Gold. I haven't heard that one yet. But
that's what you missed that podcast years ago. I did. You need to. I don't even know which one it is. Who'd I have on there? Guy that used to manage Napa. He's now in law enforcement in Gooding. But yeah. Anyhow, 19X Cadillac Gold.
That's interesting. But yeah, if I were to ever own a Glock again, it would be a 19X. That's the one I like. But ultimately, guess what? Zev did it better.
Yeah.
They make the OZ9C, and you can chassis it out.
What are those running?
About $1,900.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you're going to pay $1,900. In my experience, and I've only...
Is it worth $1,900?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say yes. If you're taking a stock Glock for $600, say Gen 5. Take Gen 5 Glock, you can't chassis it, but say you want to do an upgraded slide or cuts or that, you're going to spend another $1,100 in trigger sights, upgrades to get there. So where are you at? You're at $1,700 with a non-chassied system.
Gotcha.
And that's without the trigger upgrades.
Gotcha.
So you get into the Zev, you get all of that, and then you can just swap out your grip lowers, and you can have a Glock 19 size. You can have a Glock 17 size grip on a 19 size frame. And I believe the newest ones now have all gone down to the X chassis, which you can run up to like the Glock 34 slide size on it, and all the way down to the 19. So you got a whole plethora of things. You just throw your stuff on top, and it's one serialized chassis, just like the SIG or the Beretta APX.
Gotcha.
Or even, I think that's probably where the Echelon is going to go at some point. And I think Smith & Wesson kind of missed the bar on this one too, without chassis them. But
well, you know, I know you got a plan here, but I'm going to venture off into let's talk about I want to talk about the Echelon for a minute, right? So, you know, Springfield Armory, I have a couple of their guns, and I like the old XDM and stuff like that, right? But then they just kind of started in my mind, they just kind of started churning out garbage. Like, it wasn't good. It was all the same, and I think they've really, you know, with the Echelon.
I think
that's a good gun.
I think you're actually talking on the right track, because they came originally with the XD, which wasn't much of an innovation. It was, you know, kind of following the line of a Glock, but it had a more vertical grip. Then they did the XDM.
I like the XDM.
And I liked the XDM in 9mm.
Yeah.
I didn't, the 45 was not impressive to me, and the 40 wasn't impressive to me.
Right.
And then they did, you know, the XDM Tactical, which was, you know, they kind of upgraded.
They're trying to get more money. You get a threaded barrel. Yeah.
Threaded barrel, you know, with optics plates. Oh, there's another failure for your Glock. Your optics plates suck. Somebody else had to do it better for you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
C&H Precision, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But then they went backwards.
They got the XDS.
They had the XDS. Then they had the XDSX, which is the hammer-fired XDS, which was junk.
Then they came out with the
grip zone.
What'd they call it? Yeah, the grip zone. Like the mod. Is it the mod?
Mod 2.
Yeah.
XD Mod 2, which that was, we all needed to know how to grip the pistol.
And then they came out with the stupid Hellcats.
The Hellcat, yeah.
That was next on the list. And then after the Hellcats, they did, 2 or 3 iterations of that? 4 iterations?
4 iterations of the Hellcat.
Because you had the original, then you had the...
Yeah, the RDP. Then they did the larger framed one.
Yes.
And now they've got the larger framed comped one.
And then they went to the Echelon.
Yeah.
And I think the Echelon is way different than anything else they have.
I think so. And I think the Echelon has room for improvement.
It's not like a freaking box.
No, it's got.
I mean, the Glock is sexier than the XDM.
That's true.
I mean, it really is.
I suppose you could go that route. I mean, there's more angles on the XDM at least.
The XDM is just like a big brick. It's like holding a bar of soap.
Super top heavy. Recoil system is not really managed well.
Back when they came out, it was okay. But
yeah.
Anyhow,
I had one in the 40 when they first came out, and the rear sight went flinging off during a range session.
I've got an XDM and a 9, and then I've got the one of my second carry guns was the XD9 subcompact. I have that still.
Yeah.
But anyhow, the Echelon, that's okay.
I think what the Echelon did, and it doesn't have the best trigger in the world. It's got a decent trigger. It does slow you down.
Do they have replacements for it yet?
Not yet.
Someone will soon.
Someone's going to, but it's a chassis system, right? So you can get a larger grip or a smaller grip. And the thing I do like about it is if you do your job, it's an accurate gun. I think what they did was look at the innovations of what people were doing to Glocks to make them better, right? So you had front slide serrations, you had reductions in weight.
Yeah.
They even took a hint from HK and put little wings on the back, but they got rid of the plastic crap and they're made out of metal.
Metal, yeah. It kind of looks like a Canic a little bit.
A little bit. I think it's a little lower profile, a little lighter weight in the slide. Definitely stayed with a good set of sights. The iron sights are pretty good. They're a ball in a bucket sight. What I think was really innovative about them is the mounting surface for the red dots. You can mount up to 30 different red dots, and it comes with a little baggie of these pins. You don't need plates. It's direct mount, so you don't have a weak point in the system.
Gotcha.
I have an Echelon. I don't shoot it a lot. I don't carry it a lot. I haven't even had a holster made for it.
But you still have it, and that's impressive.
Yeah, and I think it's...
You don't keep guns.
I don't keep plastic guns. Plastic guns usually go for me fairly quick. Mm-hmm. I'll keep them for a couple months. They're innovative. They're new. I'll try them. Usually it's because I seen somebody out here that was struggling with one and I didn't have a way to help them. Yeah. So I'll go get one so I can shoot it and I can come back and figure out how to help them.
Yeah.
But the Echelon has been pretty good. And I put it in some hands of the folks out here that are don't have the physical strength to operate. And I did it on purpose because I wanted to see if I could induce a failure on that gun.
Right.
And it has not failed once. It has just continued to chug along.
Yeah.
So It doesn't have the best recoil impulse for a 9mm. I think a Glock probably has a better recoil impulse. It has the same grip angle as the Glock, which is irritating to me. Because it just is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have you don't end up with Glock knuckle. It doesn't have the sharp edges, and it's not grabbing a 2x4.
Right.
So, for what it is, I got 2 magazines. I don't plan on buying any more. Like most of my stuff, it's not the end of the world gun for me, but it is an interesting gun, and I'm enjoying it as it sits. But I mean, that's kind of where we go with the innovation, you know. Then we start looking at the ultimate tier, right? You take the 2 Fudd Whirls and you blend them together, and this is what got me thinking about this podcast.
Sure.
You take the 2 best things out of the Fudd world, your 1911 and your Glock. And some super genius out there put those 2 things together. And I think it actually started with Para, where they started doing double stack 1911s, but they got it all wrong.
Yeah.
The 2011 guys really started putting it together, but still haven't got it quite right. Then you have guys like Stealth Arms who put out the Platypus. And this thing is a knock your socks off. I haven't seen it die yet. You can order it from the factory, all the custom goodies that you want, in a 2011 platform, 9mm, right? I won't get into caliber debates, but still, you got 17 rounds of fun or more.
How much?
You can get it fully blown out the way you want it, with red dots, cuts, and all that stuff, for under $2,000. So it's like $1,800.
Right.
If you want to order the base model, just base, right? It's $1,500. So you're in the same category or price range as you are with the Springfield. What do they call that thing? The I should know this because I almost bought one, but I upgraded it. Their double stack 1911.
Yeah. The one that everyone has.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
Everybody else knows what I'm talking about right now, too.
Yeah.
And we'll probably come think of the name of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, they put that thing out there. That it's in the same price range, but it works. And here's the magic. It works on Glock magazines. So if you had a Glock 17 and you upgraded it so you have the proper grip angle that a gun should have, you go and you wanted a 1911, but you don't want to be the FUD 1911, because if you had a Glock, you've probably spent the better part of 20, 25 years now making fun of how the 1911 jams. So you don't want to go get a 2011 that just runs. Say you do. You got all the Glock mags in the world. You grew up a little bit, put on your big boy pants, and you realize that, you know, Glock ain't the best, and, you know, it's pretty good. I'll give it that. But we're evolving, right? They even did the same thing, and I found a couple of others out there that I've kind of been watching and had some interesting growth into, right? Oracle Arms is making what they call the 2311. Runs on SIG P320 mags, right?
Oh, wow.
So the 2 most prevalent magazines in the U.S. you're going to be able to get 320 mags because they're military issue.
Yeah.
And Glock 17 mags in a 2011 platform, and still in a reasonable cost amount. And I think the Stealth Arms is probably pushing it a little bit, but they'll come down, especially with their later competition now that's coming out. But even as the prevalence as the 2011 style, you know, I think it's a trademark to staccato, so we'll call them double stack 1911s. The newest ones that are coming out are running staccato mags, because Staccato's figured out the voodoo magic with their double stack magazines, right? So the innovation of the 2 Fudds, you now have 1911 slides, uppers, triggers, that great bore access, and the ability to actually have, you know, a fighting style gun, and then the polymer lower with high capacity. The 2 Fudd worlds have now come together, and they're now producing some of the best guns on the planet that admittedly or unadmittedly that everybody wants. Most can't afford yet. But I think that if they continue to do what they're doing, we're going to see the death of Glock. We're going to see the death of your standard 1911. I mean, hell, even EAA, a European arms company, they're bringing in Gerson, is now doing a double stack, and they're doing it magically with 45 ACP, 10 millimeter.
That's Turkish, right?
Yeah. Turkish guns are coming in, and they are amazingly
They're good,
better quality than they ever have been. I own a Turkish 1911, bought it for $350.
Well,
and I think we've ran it out here to death, and it still ain't dying.
I mean, so I look at them as like entering the market like the Canic.
Oh,
when
yeah.
mechanics first entered, they were $300 or $400.
Yeah.
Now they're not overly priced. They've met up with everyone else. But for the dollar, you get a hell of a gun.
Yeah, and look what Canik did to Glock. Mm-hmm. Right, they rolled in. They came in with innovation, a better trigger by far. I would.
That trigger's the best factory trigger on the
absolutely
on the freaking planet.
Absolutely. Well, I would say up to 1911, real close.
Okay, yeah, but we got 1911, and we're talking polymer guns.
Yeah,
but it's by far
the best.
It is, and I will stand by that till the day I die. As of right now, it is the best factory.
Yeah, particularly their elite line.
Like I would take another gun, and I would pay money to get that trigger.
Yep.
I mean, I look at their.
Well, you did that with your HKs.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I look at what they call it. It's the Rival, right?
Yeah.
Freaking-tastic guns.
Yep.
It's amazing to me.
They look great. They've got all the innovations that people want. Now, what I always thought was amazing about the Canik, and I've owned 2 of them so far. I don't own them right now because I find them top heavy.
Yeah.
But that's the surprising part. Usually, you have a top heavy slide. You get a lot of whip, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what voodoo magic they put in their recoil system, but I haven't had that issue with the Canik. I don't get that huge amount of flip that say you got out of a Walther PPQ.
Yeah.
Or even the Walther PDP. I had one of those. Great gun, decent trigger. A lot of barrel flip. Just there's a lot of weight in that slide.
And even so they essentially have 2 triggers, right? Even their base trigger,
phenomenal.
It's still better than 98% of the triggers out there.
I would agree. You have to skip out to an Apex or a Ghost. What do they call that one? It's a Ghost trigger. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Who makes it. Gray Guns trigger. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
So I have to plug Canik.
No, I would definitely go. I think the only thing I think Caniks suck in is their grip texturing and the shape of the grip. It's still got that really crappy P99 backwards wedge that just feels weird in your hand.
Yeah, they'll get it figured out.
I'm sure. If they decide to innovate.
Yeah. They'll get it. And I don't want to interrupt your flow here, but it's very interesting because I was thinking about this. Went and ran today for like 4 hours, and I have a lot to think about out there. And I'm thinking about, gun purchases I want to make and different things like that. I'm really slow to make a gun purchase. It just takes me freaking forever to make one. But I'm like, ever since I bought the P30, well, I'm trying to think how when did it start? Okay, I bought an AR-15. I had an AR-15. I bought another one. I spent about a little over $1,000 for that AR, right? And I'm like, oh, God, $1,000. And then I picked up this handgun, $1,400, P30 from Langdon Tactical. And I'm like, oh, God, $1,400. And now I'm like, I want another $1,000 gun. Like, that's my new entry-level price now. Like, when I think of buying a gun, it's like, okay, I got to make sure I got to save up $1,000. And I'm like, what happened to me? What happened to me?
So I have to apologize.
I don't want a $600 gun anymore.
No,
I just don't.
That is 100% my fault. I purposely did that to you, and I purposely did it to my brother. My brother is a great guy, right? Great, lives down in Georgia.
Yeah,
is really into like hunting is his thing. He doesn't really get into handguns too much.
Yeah,
but he's the guy that's like, well, is good enough, right?
Yeah,
and I convinced him to buy a very high end Springfield Waypoint rifle, hunting rifle. And I think he paid close to $2,000 for this thing.
See, my new entry level is $1,000.
Exactly.
Like
once you're at that level,
I'm disgusted
you
with
don't want to go backwards.
I'm disgusted with anything below that.
Yes.
Like, I'm not even a rifle guy, and I want to buy a Sig Cross next.
Yes.
Like, what happened to me?
There's something.
Something magical takes place.
So I mean, when we're kids, when we're kids, we drive any Toyota piece of crap, or
I still do.
We can get to where we go, right?
Right.
But the second we have the opportunity to say we can afford something that's bigger, better, faster, or as I've gotten older, I like creature comforts now. I don't really care about I don't want a Ferrari because I don't want to keep the maintenance.
You got to climb out of the Ferrari. That's a problem.
Yeah, and then crawl into it.
Yep.
But I think as you become, you can become really great with any gun, right? And God fear the guy that runs one gun because he knows his stuff, right? You take that one guy and you put him on his one gun and he does great. if you can put him on a similar gun that has higher quality parts and better overall things to make his job easier to do what he does better.
Yeah.
Why would he ever want to go back to the crap he was driving before?
Oh no, it's true.
You know,
it's true, and I just don't know. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a gun snob, right? Because there's still good guns for under $1,000.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of them, and I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I'm not looking down on those guns, but now it's like I don't like $900, $1,000.
I found
$1,500.
Anybody that's listened to you long enough or has heard me on here knows some of the stuff that I have, right?
Right.
And most of my handguns, the least expensive handgun I have is my Echelon, right?
Right.
And I don't even know why I bought it, other than the fact it was unique, and I was like, I kind of like this, and had some weird stuff, and I like stuff with red dots, right? So
yeah.
I figured I'd have to have something like that, but it sits in my safe. Most of my guns, my handguns, the cheapest one I have is around $2,000, and then they go up to $4,000 and almost $5,000. And quite frankly, they've saved me a lot of money, because when I go to I love going to gun stores.
Yeah.
And I'll go in there. Oh, I got something better than that. Oh, I got something better than that. I'm good. Yeah. And you get that snobbery point, but you're like, they're not bad guns, but why go buy something when I already have something better, you know?
Yeah.
Or at least to my mind, it says it's something better. It's top tiered to me, right?
Well, I'll go buy something for less money. You know, it is what it is. But I can't believe I'm actually entertaining the thoughts of like buying, you know, $1,000, $1,500 handgun or $2,000 rifle. Like that's never before I started buying these last couple ones I just listed. That wasn't even on my radar. Like, I'm not going to do that. Now I'm just like, I'm looking around. How much is it? Oh, no. I can get something better.
Yeah. It's like with your Langdon, right? Your
oh gosh.
The P30. The P30 to me is magic as it is, right?
It is.
It's the P30 itself, even in its basic form with the LEM trigger, is something that's out of this world.
Yeah.
For guys that run double singles, right? And the heritage of the P30 coming from the USP line. The USP line is legendary for its reliability.
Right.
I think there's a guy that had an online running test he was over like 90,000 rounds in his P30 with doing no maintenance. And the thing was as accurate as day one and just kept on running. Mm-hmm. And he just kept it as a test gun for his classes. They just run and see what happened, right? I don't know if there's guns out there that run that long, but I think the P30 has done a lot that most guns aren't ever going to do, and it's evolved to its almost highest point. Then you have guys like Ernest Langdon who shoot double singles all day long, and they take the Beretta platform and they make it something super cool. Then he goes, "Hey, I like the HKs. What can we do there?" And he turns that thing into butter.
Yeah,
absolute butter.
He's a freaking god.
He does the.
He's a P30 god.
Took a semi-automatic shotgun, which was, by standards, you could not put it up against, say, a Benelli M4.
Right.
He did his stuff, and now everybody wants the 1301 Tactical over a Benelli M4, which is odd, right? Because Benelli M4 is super reliable. It's built like a tank. You can't kill it. They take this 1301 and they turn it into Super Juice over there at Langdon, and everybody wants one, right?
Yeah.
And he's done that with a lot of stuff. The Beretta PX4 Storm is starting to come back because why? Langdon Tactical is doing his magic.
I wasn't real impressed with that gun to begin with.
I used to hate the thing, right? I think I own two of them. They kind of remind me of like a little, like
they're
a
weird
space phaser gun they had in Star Trek, right?
They're freaking weird looking.
But as I've gotten older and I look at it and I go, wait a minute, Langdon does his magic, and you get a 6-pound double action that's smooth as butter. His single action's like 3 pounds. It's got a rotating barrel. The recoil impulse is odd. It runs 17s, and it's polymer. So if I really want more grip, I'll just stipple it, right?
Yeah.
So it starts putting you in that wheelhouse again, like, and not a lot of people have them, which is, I think, the other attraction, right?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen any other. I haven't seen, besides yours, I haven't seen any other P30s come through class. I mean, we're not talking Beretta, but
yeah,
it's just an oddball. It's not an oddball. It's just that most people don't have it. You can't go to the store and buy a P30.
No. There are some in Boise that'll carry them.
Yeah, but
ultimately,
no.
Most people don't. They didn't know about the P30 until John Wick came around. Right, it wasn't a thing.
Well, and then the rise of the VP9.
Yeah.
And then they started looking.
Yeah, and why was there a rise in VP9? Because Glock was bland.
Yeah,
that's really what it was. Glock was bland.
You know, and I don't know if I just interrupted your flow.
No, not at all.
But they're coming out with a really, I forget what they call it. Like I think you sent me the article. It's that like mini VP9.
Yes, they got a VP9 SK, and
but this is the mini version. There's like a smaller.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I forget what it's called, but it's, you know, they take their time like releasing like freaking anything. Like the SK was rumors of it flew around for like 3 years before it showed up. But I'm going to check out that little one when it comes out.
Have you seen their 6-inch competition model?
Oh, the VP9?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think cool. I get the little mini model.
I'm
sold, man.
I've had mini models of guns. I always get rid of them.
Yeah, but there's places that I go that less weight is better.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right. My limit is something in the realm of a Glock 19 size.
Gotcha.
That's about as small as I want to go. But I have fairly thick hands with short fingers.
Yeah.
And little guns, you know, if I can't hang on to them with a couple fingers. Now that arthritis is really setting in, hanging on to those little ones kind of sucks.
So you, I'm going to mention it because she never listens to this podcast, but my wife hasn't shot yet, but she's went and handled the 365X macro, right? She really likes it. And so that's actually a gun I think I'm going to get her for Christmas. It's all this stupid wind today, man. It's kicking up all this dust. But no, so I think I'm actually in the market for that. And you sent me an article on it the other day on Rumble.
Oh yeah, I did.
And it's not too bad of a little rig, I don't think.
No, I think the X Macro is really taking that.
I like
that innovative level up a little bit more.
It's the bigger version.
Yeah, you get 17 rounds.
Yeah,
it's a shorter barrel, but you know you run say plus P or something like that.
Well, my wife currently shoots the freaking G43.
Yeah,
this is going to be terrible. This is going to be a huge upgrade. Like she can shoot it, but like in class, like. So it's not a good gun to like do a bunch of like, you know, the women's classes that we do, or even that's not a good gun to do that stuff with.
Yeah.
Until you've mastered it maybe on a little larger firearm, right? She could shoot the heck out of that gun, but she can't. You're trying to teach trigger reset. And it's like you just got to get something better. Like, this sucks.
Yeah, pretty terrible.
It is.
It's a Glock. I mean, what are you getting? There's not really innovation there.
If I were to hate one Glock, that 43. God,
I hate them all.
It's that 43 is horrible. So
they did the 43, then the 48, and then the 43X or something like that.
43X is the bigger, thinner one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they still lost out too. I mean, the only people that are buying those were the Glock fans. I mean, really, because the 365 is just kind of destroyed anybody in that market.
Oh yeah.
You know, Springfield tried with the Hellcat.
Yeah.
And I think Springfield
failed.
probably could have hit the Hellcat off if they had put some thought into that trigger. Because that is the most horrible trigger.
Well, and I'll say this:
out of any gun.
When Hellcat first came out, I picked it up, and I think I did a whole podcast on this. Like, this is an unfinished gun.
Yeah, very square.
Like when it came out, I was like, really? Like, come on, man! I expected just a little bit more. Like, it felt like it was like, okay, hurry, we just got to get this thing out.
Yeah.
And I picked it up. I'm like, is this a freaking prototype? Like, what is this? I mean, because that's what it felt like.
Well, you ever notice the trigger stop?
No.
So if you ever looked at plastic injection molding or metal injection molding, right?
Yeah.
They got that little.
This is where the gun nerd's coming out. Okay.
Yeah. So like the little tube goes down into the mold.
Yeah.
And they inject the stuff down in there. The trigger stop looks like just that piece of crap that they left on the back of it and polished it off.
Really?
It's just this little round thing. It says, I'm looking at that, and the trigger's all square. The gun is. Like it came out of its mold square, and they stuck it to a polishing wheel just around the corners.
Yeah, and it's really rough to shoot, and it's just gnarly.
Yeah, it is. It is. The trigger brake is so heavy, even with the over travel stop.
I've
replaced
a
lot of dip.
I had two. I didn't have two of them, but for some students, I helped them. They did replacement triggers, and they're still not good.
Yeah, no. The whole geometry of that gun is terrible.
I mean, it's got a cool name.
It does.
And the advertising commercial for it when it first came out was freaking amazing. I mean,
but I think quite frankly they were playing off the Hellcats from the Dodge.
Probably. Yeah,
so
probably.
You're thinking big block, small, tiny gun. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I don't know. Any other guns on your radar as far as like?
I think I ran out of the greatest. Oh, the Prodigy was the one we were talking about.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
Springfield.
That's it. Yeah.
The Platypus. I thought was
I'm
a
going to
great
look
idea.
that gun up now that I'm not afraid to spend some money. I'm really going to go. I'm going to look that up. How long?
Which one is that?
The Platypus. How long's that thing been around?
It is now. It's almost a year out.
Okay.
And when you go to Stealth Arms website, they have some guns up there that are that are pre-made that you can order. Like I thought one was the funniest. Is there was a cartoon that had this character on it called Perry the Platypus.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was that. Yeah,
they have the Perry the Platypus gun in his all colors in that, right? So it's all set up.
They need him like laser engraved into their gun.
It's there. It's the coolest thing. I have to show you when we're off the cast here, but
okay.
I mean, the most expensive after all of the adding your texture, adding your custom colors, you can color the gun multiple colors. You know, if you want colors in the slide serrations and then the
it's like ordering a freaking car.
Exactly, and you want it the way you want it. Glock 17 mags. You get 2011 reliability and shootability with whatever mounting plate system you want on it. You can have multiple plates for your red dots, right?
Yeah.
Under $2,000. And I mean, I think if they, and I haven't seen any issues with this gun.
Yeah.
Watching it very, very closely because I was very concerned about it at the beginning. The 2311s that are coming out from Oracle Arms, I think they're a little on the high side of cost. They're very proud of their gun.
Yeah.
I think they'll come down with the Platypus kind of taking off. There's a couple guys here in the Valley that now have the Platypus and run it, and they've had zero issues.
Really?
The new Prodigies, so Gen 2 we'll call them, seem to have had all their little issues fixed, and they're running really, really well. And I think those are going to become more prominent. I like the staccatos. I like my staccato, especially the newer generation of them, but they're getting a little proud, you know. They're pushing into that $3,500, $4,000 range.
It's almost,
and I'm not seeing that kind of innovation and cost for that.
It's almost, unless you're, there's guys that, like you don't mind spending money on a gun, right?
No.
Yeah, but there's some guys that don't mind spending money on a gun, but even that's almost like, that's unreachable. That's unobtainable unless you're like a competition guy.
Well, I think too is it when it comes to a gun in that level, right? There's certain things that you're looking for. So I own a Staccato and I own Wilson Combats.
Yeah.
I have Wilson Combats EDCX9, which I think is a great gun. I also own their Experior Double Stack, which is kind of the more superior version of the EDCX9. Mm-hmm. And the Staccato, the Experior, and the EDCX9 shoot on a gnat's ass. I mean, I shot a fly on your range out here, and that's easy at will.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is great. So you can run single hole groups all day, and you can run fast. The difference comes down to the little things like, where the sharp edges are, the recoil impulse. Does it feed everything? How does it feed? The magazines themselves, right? I just ordered 2 more Wilson mags today. They cost me for 2 mags. It was like $70. It's $100 for one Staccato mag.
Oh,
$100. And I'm going, if they're going to be $3,500 for a Staccato it's a polymer lower. I think I went to order a lower from them. They wanted $400 for just the polymer piece. I took it to a good buddy. He went ahead and recontoured the grip that was on it, put some really cool sandpapery texture on it.
It's freaking nasty.
It is awesome. I love this thing, right? Cost me, he charged me his fee for it, which saved me a ton of money.
Yeah.
I love it running that Staccato. It's great. When I put it next to my Wilson EDC, the EDC in many ways is just superior. The magazines are of better design. They're less costly. It's round in all the right spots without the sharp edges, but hooks into your fingers when you get a hold of it. Mm-hmm. The recoil impulse, accuracy, and reliability are out of this freaking world. That's a $3,500 gun. Why am I going to go get something that's half plastic, injection molded, that cost me $100 for magazines, and it doesn't even have the finish work that my EDCX9 for the same price? It's unrealistic to me.
I got to buy a few guns first, but I guarantee you tonight, probably tomorrow, I'll spend a little while looking at videos of the Platypus. I'm actually, it's probably as close to the 1911 that I'm going to get, but I'm 100% curious.
It is
and it's got a weird name, and I like that weird.
I thought it was the weirdest name they ever came out with a gun.
I like
it's called Platypus.
I like the weird stuff a little bit.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm kind of
I like the customization of it, and the fact I think its biggest hoorah is those Glock 17 mags.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Oh, hey, Glock, here's another knock for you on your innovation. Glock 17, Glock 8, 19 mags. They're great magazines. They're reliable. They do really, really well. They're $35 to $40 a piece, right?
Yeah.
Even 26 on sale. I can go buy Magpul P-Mags, which these higher-end guns, Shadow Systems, I don't remember what the hell I'm carrying. I can't remember what it's called right now. The OZ9, the Hellfire. These other guns are now coming with the Magpul mags, and they're running reliably. And they cost me $11. And I bought a 21-round magazine for $13. Yeah, guess what? It runs in the Glock. It runs in everything else. And even if I did break it or it wore out the feed lips a little bit sooner than the other, it's $11, guys.
So here's the thing. What's happening? Think about this. From even a buyer standpoint, they might go out and buy a few expensive Glock mags, but then if they have something that runs these, they're gonna go, I can buy 2 Glock mags, or I can buy like 6 of these, and they're still spending the same amount of money.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, this is the way to go.
Yeah, and I mean, if your gun doesn't run reliably with them, now there is some truth to the first generation Magpul P mags that came out for the Glocks. They were crap. There's all sorts of feeding issues. All the research that I've been able to do on the Series 2, they pretty much fixed all of it.
Well, they have to, or they could,
Yeah, they wouldn't keep going, right?
They're forced to.
And who doesn't love a PMAG? If you got an AR, you know what a PMAG is. If you're running AKs, you know what the PMAG Gen 2s are, right? They fixed the issues they had in the Gen 1 with the breaking locking block and stuff on them. They reinforced it with steel. These, I can't really find any fault in, at least yet. And if I do, it was $12. So... not a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. Any more to say on firearms, sir?
I think not, man. I think
got that all off your chest. You feel better now?
I think so. You to get these Glock guys on par with the 1911 guys.
This was just a therapy session for Magnum today. It's all
for sure. But whatever you guys run out there, if you're running Glocks, if you're running 1911s, maintain them, oil them. Keep them clean. They're not meant to run 600 rounds dirty. Even though they do. But, and I'm not a firefight guy, but if you're down to your handgun and you're going to run 600 rounds through your handgun, I think anybody with real fighting experience out there, handgun fighting experience, tell you you're going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to die,
Yeah.
So, run what you want to run, enjoy it, shoot well, practice, come train. But there are better things out there for both y'all.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, I'd like to thank Magnum for stopping by, and he'll be back again, I'm sure. You've been on here a few times. We'll get you back on again.
All the Glock stuff off my chest, I almost don't know what to say.
He's out of material now.
You know what? I'll start picking on ARs the next round.
That's something that I can't even fight with you on, because I really don't. I do have a lower in there, and I've got a bunch of parts, and one of these days I'm going to sit down and figure out how to put that thing together. I've never done that before.
It's cool. YouTube is
super
helpful.
Well, this lower is a little different lower, and it might need some tweaking. That makes any sense to you.
Yep.
So, but anyhow, I'm sorry it took me so long to get another podcast out. It is what it is. Sometimes I get lazy. I'm not even gonna lie. I just get lazy. So I do appreciate it. Share it with all your family and friends. Share it on social media. Follow us on all the social medias. I would appreciate it. Everyone have. I got another one in the works. I don't know if it'll get out before Thanksgiving or not. Even if I get it recorded, I don't know if I'll release it before Thanksgiving. So everyone get out, enjoy your time spent with your family. I know it seems to be like Thanksgiving is the time of year where, you show up, and if your family's into firearms, I mean, a lot of families go shoot, or they go skeet shooting, or they go to, traps shooting, or they go to turkey shoots, right? I mean, this is just what you do this time of year. So go out and enjoy it. Share this with all your family and friends. I tell you, the Patriot Defense Podcast is a free gift, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. All you got to do is pick up your family member's phone, download it for free, and then they get that year round.
Yeah, pass it around on Facebook if you're in the Magic Valley.
Social media, that's the way to do it. I would appreciate it.
And remember, at your Thanksgiving party, guys, make sure you bring your best barbecue gun and an all-leather engraved holster to show off to everybody in the house.
I'm packing my High Point. That's what I'm doing. My JXP 10. Or JP, I don't, is it JXP, JPX 10, JXP 10? JXP 10.
I'm not sure, but if you're carrying that sounds like Thanksgiving in the trailer park.
Yeah, well, whatever, man. We all got to celebrate, man. We've all got to celebrate. So, anyhow, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.